Hey folks, it has been a long time since I've been here on the tube of you doing a tutorial about some electronic music wizardry. It's something I've been meaning to do for a long time. I appreciate the people who have watched and commented on my last video where I used high RPE2 sequencer and the MIDI fighter twister to do some interactive sequencing. The plan today is for something similar. Again, it's using sequencers and hardware and some other software wizardry to make an interactive sequencing instrument. I really like making music hands-on, and there's a lot of different ways to do it, and so I like taking some of the tools that are there and finding some interesting ways to coax some new sort of things out of them. And I think what I have here today is something that's interesting and something that you can use in some different ways. It actually doesn't require any special hardware, unlike the last video, which focused on the MIDI fighter twister. This is software-based, pretty much, as far as the tools, as far as what's doing what. You can control it with some other different kinds of hardware, but the main work is software related. It is focused on Max for Live, a particular Max for Live device, maybe a few. So if you're in another DAW, you have to find another tool that does something similar to this Max for Live device that I'm going to focus on today. So that being said, welcome, hello. I guess I should do all the hey, subscribe, follow, like, comment, blah, blah, blah. That'd be awesome. I do like interacting. It's good to hear what people are doing and that they appreciate what I'm putting out here. So in Ableton, and here are some of the tools that I'm going to be using. So here's my set. It's going to be focused on some sequences. Let's see, track 1 is going to be focused on the High MPS3, new version from High Plugins. I was part of the beta development of this, got to do some testing and make some comments. I love the High plugins, the sequencers especially. They can be a little overwhelming. There's a lot going on, but so powerful, lots of modulation options, just crazy. So this is going to be basically using it as an arpeggiator in this instance. Okay, so that is going to be on my, oops, I have a new switcher thing going on here. I'm playing around in OBS, so forgive me, things get a little weird visually. So that's going to be the arpeggiator. It's going to be driving track 2, which is an instance of Vital, basic pluck. Okay. On track 3, there's going to be a second sequence using Stepic again as an arpeggiator, because again I want to use entering notes by hand to drive the sequences. So sequencers, plug them and they run. This is using an arpeggiator, but in I think a slightly different way than just your typical da 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 da. Hey, I love Philip Glass and all those things, but this allows you to do something a little extra. Anyway, so Stepic is the arpeggiator. I'm using another free Max for Live device, Deviate from Novel Music. Novel Music makes some great Max for Live devices. There's the Seeds collection, a whole bunch of some new stuff. But Deviate is a great little tool. I'm not going to talk about it too much, so let me preview it here. It basically put it in between, what's driving the instrument, and it does a whole lot of random things. You can have it randomly switch octaves on different notes, pitch, which you can then restrict to a scale or restrict to like 2 scales at once, go back and forth between scales. Cool. Velocity, duration of notes, delay of notes, ratchets. I use it mostly for ratcheting, which I know Stepic does that with dividing, but this does some things slightly different. Pitch bend, I don't really use pitch bend. But anyway, Deviate is a great little free device, Novel Music, check it out, that can let you do some random things with different arpeggiators, sequencers, etc. Just sort of changing some notes in the process there. So that'll be here a little bit, not doing too much. Okay. I have a couple extra tracks. There's a pad track just to give some sonic context to what's happening. Instance of Diva going through good old Supermassive. Okay. So that's providing context. A drum track, percussion and drums. I am awful at doing that. Really awful. Drum machines and programming beats. I have some techniques that maybe I'll show you that for people who don't know how to do it. There's some interesting ways to come up with something. But Playbeat from Audio Modern, excellent. So I'm using that just again to provide some structure to what's happening here. So those are the basic tools, okay? But the focus is going to be on this one Max for Live tool, if I can get it to show up. There we go. Oops. Oh, let me get on the right track. There we go. Polyphonic Latch from Heaps of Bleeps. And it does what it says. So it will latch, hold on to notes that you play or enter in. So you can just use it to hold a drone for as long as you want. So it can do that. But there's a lot of other things it does, which is what is going to be the focus of what I'm doing here today. Okay. So I'm going to be using this on both of the sort of pluck sequences, the Stepic pluck and the high MPS 2 or MPS 3 pluck. Okay. And I'll try to explain a little bit what I'm doing. So one thing I'll say about Polyphonic Latch, again, it does some great things. Again, you can latch notes. As you can see there, it has number of voices, which we can, if you're looking at the voices there, going up and down, it can go up to a max of 8, down to a minimum of 1. And I'm going to use that creatively, all right? Because what it basically does is it can create a sort of round robin. So if I have it on 3 notes and I put down a triad, I press a triad on my handy dandy push or a keyboard, it will latch those notes. I let go, they still play. I put in a 3rd note, it'll drop the last of the original notes and put this new note in. So it allows you to subtly shift the source of your arpeggiation, whichever chord or whatever notes that you've entered. As you enter new notes, drops some of them, keeps some of the old ones. So it allows you to really sort of morph your arpeggiation as things are playing. So it's, again, I think very cool. Again, changing the specific notes or the number of notes, right? Having it on 8 voices, doing an 8-note arpeggiation, drop it down to 5 or 3. So have it drop down and become a little simpler, and then build it up more complex again. So it allows you to take what could be simple arpeggios and really blossom them in a way. I'm not sure if I will do it justice with what I'm showing you today, what I do, but hopefully it'll give you an idea for some things you can experiment with. All right, so let me start my track here. So we're going to start with the chords. Settle us. We are in, I think, D flat minor is where we're at, and I used some other plugins to create some random chords that I recorded. So that's what's happening. All right. So we'll do this sequence first. Okay, so Polyphonic Latch, we're on, so this is track 1. This is going into playing track 2, Vital. We'll start it with 2 voices, okay? And let's see, we'll do it, I don't want to do octaves because I want us to be able to hear the difference between the notes, okay? So here we go. Let me show you a little bit about what's going on here in high MPS 3. So again, so I have several blocks of going on here. So here in the first block 1, okay, I have this little sequence. It moves on to block 2, and so this chainer is going back and forth between those 2 blocks. All right, and so if you look at the arpeggiator there, it's built in note 1, 3, 2, and 4 of whatever chord I put in. Okay, this will only actually do 8 voices or 4 voices at a time. So I'm not going to be able to do as much with this, and that's why I'm using Stepic for another one. But this lets you see the notes that are playing in this are notes 1 and 2 of what I played. All right, and so that's going back and forth there. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Let's take it up to 4, and then I'm going to put in those 4. So now it's doing 4 voices, right? And I can change what's happening on the try a different sequence of blocks. So if you see B is up at the top there in the block chainer, top left. If I go over to A, it's going to play a different series of. Okay, you see it's going through 4 blocks, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it's doing a bunch of different things in block 4. Actually, there's 2 layers there. So that's what's happening there. So let's toss a different note in. So again, I'm going to put a note in. So it's playing 4 notes. Let's play one up nice and high. So it just dropped one of the original 4 notes, and it added this last note. Okay, so right, it just shifted, took the 4 notes that were playing, dropped one, added the one I just played. So it's a different cycle of notes. Should I throw in a real low note to hear? Right? So you can play 2 notes at a time. And this will take, okay, I'll drop 2 notes and put those 2 notes in place of the ones that were there originally. So it allows me to do a whole lot of stuff. Now I could go, okay, back to, okay, Polyphonic Latch. There we go. I'm on 4 voices. It's latched. One of the things about Polyphonic Latch is I feel that the documentation isn't great. So some of these buttons, I'm not sure the details of how they work with replay and whatnot. There's a few things that I'm a little unsure of. They do some interesting things. So no repeat is one that I understand. If you have 4 notes playing and one note you play is one that's already playing, if it's on no repeat, it won't add that note to it. Okay? If no repeat is off, it'll let 2 of the same notes be in latched at the same time. Okay? I'm pretty sure that's what that is. But if you look there and you see the melody, okay, is an option. So it's playing these 4 notes. If I turn over to melody, I can throw in another note and hold it down. Not sure if it's coming now. Am I on the right? Yeah, I find the way that it's interacting with the high MPS3 and the way that arpeggiator works sometimes doesn't do as expected. So let's maybe go on to the other sequence. And so actually I'm going to take this one down a little bit. 3 notes. In fact, I might just bring it down slightly in the mix, and we'll move over to the next. Okay. And so we're on a different track. If you look, you can see Polyphonic Latch. See, if you look there, you can see them changing the number of voices. So I'll start on 2. So this is going to be a different. Oh, sorry, I had to start the arpeggiator on this track. My bad. There we go. Let me turn down that first one. So these are the 2 notes. Okay, Stepic is playing this. Adding a 3rd note. 4th note. There we go. Have to go up high there. I'm playing 4 notes. And maybe so if I had a 5th, I had that 5th, that would actually drop one of the other ones. So I have 5 notes I'm playing, it dropped one of the lowest notes there. Let's just do a nice chromatic chord on there. Not exactly chromatic, diatonic run. So, it's playing those 4 notes. Okay, on this track, let me again reduce that first one. So what should happen with melody, so let's go back and look at what's happening here. So when I turn it over to melody, okay, on Polyphonic Latch, if you saw that there. Now when I play a note here, or a couple notes, and Stepic should let me do this better than high MPS3 did, but two notes, it's adding those, so the latch is still holding those lower notes that I put in before, Melody is playing these other little notes on top, adding them to the sequence. Those high ones. If I let go, it stops playing. Okay, so it allows you to sort of play a melody if you hold one note or several notes. You can also latch the melody. So if you saw, let's see, where's latch melody? Latch melody. So that just light up there. If I put those notes down and I let go, it's going to hold on to those until I unlatch them, which I have push set up to do this stuff. But if you look at the bottom row there on Polyphonic Latch, you can see that part of what's built into this is pedal control. So you can trigger the latch, you can mute the latch, you can clear the latch using a pedal if that's functionality you want to do. Or you can MIDI map that to other controllers and stuff. Okay, so this is still on 4. Let's take it all the way up to 8. So I'm changing the latch on that first track. I can make some bass line, I guess I could do that. There we go. From that first track, the vital pluck into more of a bass line. And then on this other one with my... I made an error there. Okay, it wasn't doing what I wanted to because I still left that third track on melody. Just put it back on the latch. There we go. Now I've got 8 notes latched. When I let go, those will be holding. And then, so something else just to spice this up a bit. Okay, I can go back into Ableton and go to a different line in Stepic. Okay, so slightly different arpeggiation. I think it's based on a 16th note instead of an 8th note. Some other ratchets in there. I can speed that up. So, having a few different sequences sort of programmed into the different slots in Stepic, it's still holding those same 8 notes, but if I change the block in Stepic, what's happening there, it will interact with them in different ways based on the settings that are in there as far as octave jumps, as far as skipping steps, etc., etc. And so I can take this 8, turn down to 6, turn down to 5, turn down to 4, turn down to 3, put in some different notes. Slower sequence. I never brought my drums in. Should we bring the drums in? Let's bring them in. Play beat. Again, excellent for being able to have some drums that grow and change and some random settings that are just really powerful. Maybe I should open up the lead and play along with some of this stuff here, huh? Syrah. So, hopefully you see some interesting things happening here with letting the Polyphonic Latch have you interact with the sequences. Move them up and down keyboard, play them up high, again, what I did before, down to a bass line with one of the sequences. here. So using the polyphonic latch to sort of do this round robin playing of notes, so that you're not just sort of, playing a chord and letting the arpeggiator play those chords, hit another chord, it's going to go through the same pattern on those other chords. It allows you to shift the notes within the pattern of the arpeggiation live in real time, which I think is a powerful creative tool. Lets you work the arpeggiation as you feel, as you're enjoying the way it sounds, the way the notes are, but wanting it to move a little bit up the scale, get a little higher, and a little lower, create different kinds of tension. I think it offers some excellent options for that. So, there you have it. Polyphonic Latch, Heaps of Bleeps. I'm sure I'll put some links in the description, as always. Also, the other devices, high MPS3. There's a whole lot more I could go into with that, and I should, and I may, now that I have a little new setup here that hopefully will let me just jump in and make some videos more quickly when I have an idea to do so. High MPS3. Deviate from novel music, which is just, again, a super fantastic little tool. Didn't even really talk about it much, didn't highlight it, but I will definitely push it as a useful tool for, again, taking whatever you're doing and throwing in little bits of randomness that you can control that provide some variety as you're going through it. Okay, so that's this. I hope it was useful for you. I hope you find some creative way to use it. If you do, please comment. If you think there's another interesting way for me to use this or for other people to use this, also make comments. Yeah, so thanks a lot for stopping by, checking out Synthesis here on YouTube, and go back and do something creative and have some fun. Thanks a lot.